I've added an image, patch image here in the OO folder. Basically what we're saying is that when we have our sys modules, modules 02 say hello, this is an ID that points to some code in memory. We're not calling it, it's just the reference, it's the ID. So that when we do call it with an argument, it runs that in the code here. If we create a new patch function, it will have its own ID. Obviously the rest of the definition goes here. It has a different set of code. So when we do this assignment, we're saying that the reference, the ID of the code for the modulo 2 say hello is no longer the original version. It is now a new version. It is the ID, the reference of this function, so that when we call the function, it actually will run some different code. And this is what patching is doing. We're just basically changing where our function points to in memory, rather going to the original code, we're repointing it. And what mock libraries and everything else do make it far more convenient, because we'd have to repoint it back after we've done the mocking or the patching. So they provide convenience tools to manage all of this. But if we want to see what's happening and doing it ourselves, this is how we do it. And then we would need to repoint this sys module say hello to the original ID. So I just added this in before the video to help explain some of the points in it. Cut. We're now in O3 create test double. We're just going to vary things to patch in with slightly different ways as we're building up to the mock in Python, the mock class in Python. Again, we're importing modulo 2, setting up our rich and our pyboxen. We're creating a class, we're calling it test double. We don't need to inherit from object. We can if we want, that's the root object. It's identical, the same like this. We're setting up a constructor that when the message that gets passed in, it gets returned by the method mock say hello. A simple little class. We're creating an instance of this object, and we're going to put in red bold test double value as the initial argument passed to it. So what we can do before we do all of that is look at our original version in modulo 2, where we have our say hello function. What we're going to do is get the last 5 characters, 5 digits of the ID. We're also going to run that function, passing in blue bold original modulo 2 say hello. This is our rich coloring. We're going to color it in blue and bold. We will now mock our say hello with the method object.mock say hello. That's in our test double here, mock say hello here. Whatever was passed in the initialization is going to get returned, and we're passing in red bold test dub value. Then all we're going to do is compare the patch to the original, and at the very end we'll print out what's in the global namespace of this module. So let's do that. Let's run O3 create test double and have a look, go up to the top. So we can see we get the original ID and the original return value of the say hello function. We passed in this statement here, blue bold. We did our test double. Notice how the reference, the ID is different now. And when we run it with the patch version, we get the red test double value. And if we look at our name global space, coming down to the end, we can see that we have our test double. We have an object that was created, the original ID value, the original say hello sort of value. Those are all in the global namespace. If we come up modulo 2, it has a reference to modulo 2, to the modulo 2 file. But what we have done is, while it's loaded in and that's the file it's used, we can, at runtime, patch it, monkey patch it, to change its reference so it actually points somewhere else and returns a patched version. So a quick look again at the code, just to see what we're doing. We're creating a test double with a method, and we're using that method to replace the say hello function, because in sys modules for the key for modulo 2 say hello, the reference to this method or this function that's in modulo 2 here is actually going to be changed to one of our own choosing in our test double. So this is just another variation on patching, mocking, monkey patching, whatever term you choose to use.